Sure.
Let's talk about that.
Well, I bought it today. It's a like a very small Sony boombox, like tape boombox.
Line-in's crucial.
Yeah. Well. Oh yeah, it's got a line in. Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
it is.
yeah.
I mean, if you're like, look, as a extremely successful mixer and producer. Talking about you here.
Oh.
Number,
Yeah.
you need to be able to, unless you have a pair of like ATCs, PMCs,
Yeah.
some kind of, Lynn Neumann. We're going like kind of we're going to the echelons. We're talking above 10K a set here. Monitors. Unless you go to the Quincy school and you're just one orotone mono. Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna need to test those mixes on every single available option.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to do that. I know.
That's what they say, in all the kind of glad rags.
Well, I do
mixing.
that. I mean,
it's like,
and
listen.
the ultimate test for me is my Volvo, because it's everything sounds bad in it, like everything. Beatles sound bad. So when I do a mix and I listen in there, if it's like half decent, I know it's like awesome on earbuds or something.
Legitimately, like Sean Everett, who's like shout out to Sean Everett, huge fan of his. He's a producer, engineer, mixer. He's actually originally from Bragg Creek near Calgary, but he's like did like War and Drugs Records, Alabama Shakes, won Grammys. Blues, very much.
Yeah.
A lot of blues. Yeah. He's not a bluesy guy, though.
But he knows how to mix
Guys
it.
dressed in crazy outfits, got dreads and shit. So he's out there.
Partial lineage.
Well, Counting Crows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was listening to him talk about mixing, and he was talking about how, like, he's, like, total imposter syndrome. Like, he's like, I don't do it, like, the way anyone else does it. I have this bad setup, NS10s, a big sub in a concrete room. It's like, but it works for me. It's all backwards. I'm just copying other people still. It's really, really inspiring. But he said that when he was, I can't remember what record it was, but something like when he was really on the up doing successful records, he had like a Corolla, like the car.
Yeah.
And he was like, as I went into that thing, and if it sounded good in there, I knew it was good.
Yeah.
And he was like, and at some point it like broke. The car broke.
Yeah.
But I parked it. Like, because it
so
was,
you could
I could
use
still
it.
use
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
and
Keep
in the
the battery
end,
in there.
yeah,
Yeah.
like because it was the only way I knew, and he was like, it was so stupid because it had a CD player, so I was burning CDs.
Oh, sweet!
Because that's how I knew it it was meant to sound like.
Well, I just use I have the tape with the cord on it.
Yeah,
because I have a tape deck in my car, and then I just run the cord to my phone, and
you got to be.
But it's like there's no. Everything in my car sounds like it's way too much high end.
Yes.
Like it's like super thin and crispy.
Yeah.
So
kind of an AM sound.
Yeah, but it's really
absence of low, I suppose.
So it's kind of a good way to not go overboard with that.
Okay.
Because my mixes tend to be a little toppy, I would say.
Well,
because I like things to poke out.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of the way I.
One thing I like to do with mixing, I like to when you want something to poke out. Little trick I learned, from a guy called Rick Rubin.
Right.
No, I didn't learn it from him.
Yeah.
Turn it up just when it comes in. Automation. The voice comes in. Turn it up a bit loud. Then bring it down. So you just your head. Whoa, what was that? Then bring it down. Guitar comes in. Too loud for a second. Pull it down.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to kind of get the ear.
Yeah.
No,
I just find like I often for things that aren't instruments that cover the low end. I'll take a lot of low end out of them,
well, you have to
so that they thin out and
it's a millimeters game.
Yeah,
I mean, literally, we're talking about voltage here.
And my Volvo will tell me if I've done that too much, if it's too thin.
Too thin
is what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the vocals, like the lead vocal, I'll be like, sounds like there's nothing, there's no body to
100%.
it. Right? So
that magic frequency range around, I'd say 300 to 500, really scary down there.
Yeah, it is.
That's a scary zone. That's where all your weight is.
Yeah.
So that's where, if you kind of, I'll tell you what, you've got the Sound Toys plugins, right?
Yeah.
Little thing I've kind of figured out. If you're kind of listening to something and you've high passed it, like you're talking about, to create space down there, but it's just feeling a bit weak, thin. Your Volvo's telling you it's thin.
Yeah.
Throw the little radiator on it.
Yeah.
Little radiator for some reason.
Quite a bit.
Kind of just does something. I'm going to say down 300 to 500. Don't know what it's doing. kind of soft saturation in a lower registry.
I'll throw that on a whole mix. I've done it.
I've seen it done.
Yeah.
I've seen videos on YouTube.
Just sometimes, just if I just want to
Warm it up, tune it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if it needs it.
You know what? If your ears are good enough that you can tell if something needs a little kind of, what's great about that plugin? Parallel,
Yeah.
You turn it down.
Sure.
You only want 50%, no problem.
Yeah.
All
No, I love
plugins should
that.
have that.
Yeah.
Welcome to Impossible Way of Life, your pro audio mixing podcast.
Speaking of pro audio, went down to Long McQuaid today.
Let's talk about it.
So I needed to rent an acoustic guitar. Mine wasn't working for me. I went down there.
What was your issue? Truss rod?
It's buzzy. A lot of fret buzz.
Okay.
The action's too low, and I took
Yeah,
it in,
yeah.
and they said
Could learn to play it. I mean,
it can't be raised. It's a really, really big operation with my guitar.
really?
So I was like, okay, I don't know if I took it along McQuaid, so I think I'm gonna take
Yeah.
it to Paul Iverson and be like, what's up?
A lot of people talking about Iverson.
Brian,
There's a
shout
new
out
guy.
Brian Adams, guitar tech for many years.
There's also a new guy in town.
Okay.
Yeah, Brandon's been using this guy coconut fret wash.
Yeah, I'm
You
gonna.
know what I'm
I might
talking
go.
about?
The Long McQuaid guy, he sounded like he was like told me it couldn't be done. I was like, give me a break here.
Well, I'm pretty sure that guy only deals in Jacksons.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
down that he's dealing with like 70s Yamaha.
Yeah,
acoustics.
Yamaki.
Yeah, I think he's more of a kind of like I don't see.
He didn't know the guitar.
I
so-
don't see where does it plug in because it's because how are you going to hammer on this thing?
Yeah, and
that's probably
for
what he
those
was
listening.
doing, actually.
If anyone out there listening, if you know Yamaki, you know. That's all. I'll say.
I've heard that said.
1970.
Yeah,
They're great guitars.
Yeah. I've heard it said.
But little buzzy, so I was like, I'll just go rent a Gibson or a Martin, and it'll be good, obviously.
Sure.
But I went. It's this really weird thing. This is the funny thing about like using your ears and about things.
Yeah.
Went in there, I played all these Gibsons and
Yeah.
Martins. You know what I wound up
Horseshit.
walking out with? Simon and Patrick.
oh, local boys done good.
I just played a bunch
Canadian-
of rent, $8 for the
Canadian.
day. It sounded good. Like
When I think when I was in England, like when I did work experience in a music store.
yeah.
It was what was it called? It was in Stockport. It was actually really near Strawberry Studios, which I didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
And it was like I don't know if you did this here. Like in high school, you had to go to work for free for 2 weeks somewhere, just to like learn how jobs work. It was just a way of giving like jobs free labor, I guess.
Yeah.
I went and got a job in a music store and like just stacked boxes in the basement and had a shit time because
Yeah.
it was weird. But there was like a couple of like old rockers working there
Nice.
and stuff. But as a left-handsman, as I am, they had a limited selection of acoustic and electric instruments.
Sure.
But the left-handed ones they had acoustic were Simon and Patrick. So
Nice.
I've been a fan, I'd say an aficionado
Sounded good.
for a long time.
So I just for the pod,
Yeah.
for our listeners,
100%.
as they're ringing me up my $850.
Yeah.
For
Did
the
you
day.
take theft insurance?
No,
You didn't take theft
I
protection?
got it right here, man. I got my theft protection right here.
Yeah.
Uh,
For the record and for the listeners, Johnny was holding up his crossbow that he's had with him ever since he got back from Ottawa.
right.
Yeah.
No. And just the guy, just long hair, kind of
Yeah.
cool guy,
Yeah.
soft spoken. I could tell he was.
Was
a
his name
rocker.
James?
Don't
Because
recall.
there's a young kind of
Long dark hair,
straight.
acoustic guitar.
Oh,
section.
in the acoustic section.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of you got to work your way up, unless you're into folk
Well,
or like
so
maybe I don't know, kind of. I mean, Eric Johnson plays some great acoustic tunes. Song for
100%.
George, great
Listen,
song.
listen. Anybody worth their salt, if they're an electric player,
Yeah.
they can play acoustic
Yeah.
too, and well. You know what I mean? I'm talking Knopfler, Page.
Oh yeah,
Everybody.
Page open tuning's
Oh.
really the key.
Neil, obviously,
Yeah, I've heard it.
without question.
Yeah,
I mean, all the greats.
yeah.
Jimi Hendrix, I think he did, but I haven't heard
He
much.
didn't live long
There's a
enough.
couple tunes on a couple albums.
He didn't
There's
live
one
long
called
enough, I
Belly
don't
Button
think.
Window. It's
Okay.
got blues.
That's pretty
Acoustic
bluesy.
blues. Anyway, So I just said to him, he's ringing me up. I kind of pay my $850, and I just looked across the counter, and I said to him, who would you say technically is the greatest guitarist of all time? I asked him.
Do you think that he has...
He gave me one of these.
Yeah. Do you think he's kind of limited to what he can and cannot say from the acoustic department?
Yeah.
You know,
No. He was going all electric with his answers.
But did he look around quickly just to make sure he wasn't stepping on anyone's toes?
It was just us in there, so I think he felt safe.
Yeah, because presumably, like, there's kind of a... You don't want to step on their toes. You've got to sell an acoustic. You don't want to tell, Johnny Payne that, like, the best guitarist isn't an acoustic player.
No,
you want to be like
exactly.
Bert Jansch.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Of course. That's what they have to
Gold
say.
standard.
So he said, initial reaction, as you'd expect, he said, too hard. Can't answer
it's
it.
too much.
And I said, come on. I said, who, if you just had to say,
it's just
for
me and you here.
For you.
It's just me and you
And
here.
he's like, I guess Jeff Beck. That's where he went initially.
He went to Beck.
He went to Jeff Beck initially. And then I said, I kind of explained the criteria a bit.
The categories.
Yeah, I said to him, because often I'm quite interested, I said to him, in that people will say that
100%.
there's a difference between technique and sort of just like style.
Natural ability?
Yeah, natural ability.
Raw talent.
Yeah.
God-given talent.
And I say, and it's a bit confusing to me. And he said, he knew all about it. He said, it's pretty funny.
100%.
And then he said, he thought for a second.
Yeah.
And he said to himself,
Is it funny?
He said, no. Yeah. He said, well, I guess since you said that,
that
if we're talking just straight technique, it's probably Yngwie Malmsteen.
Malmsteen.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a classic.
And he said, personally, not a fan of his music. No. He said, but if I'm just talking straight technique.
Yeah, exactly.
So
kudos to him, one, for braving crossing the kind of acoustic electric threshold. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what your local Long and McQuaid Guitar Center or... I don't even know what it's called in England. Dawson's Music, some bullshit. I don't know. But like, I don't know what they're like in your, hometown. But in our Long and McQuaid, listen, there's a clear and obvious divide between the acoustic and electric worlds.
Yeah.
There's doors of perception.
Not to mention pro audio versus guitars.
Well, the thing is, pro audio's kind of open plan at that Long and McQuaid.
Well,
it's kind of like you can kind of
some
but
big
you can
changes in
you
there.
can kind of wander in. You can be like, easily like buying like, and listen, this isn't even to talk about the pro guitar zone. Because there's standard guitar world, and then there's like pro guitar world. No one's ever bought a guitar in that.
Yeah, that's like custom.
We're talking like $6,000 road worn, never played
Keith
Strat.
Richards Telly. Yeah,
this is more stuff that you'd put straight on your wall.
Yeah.
Straight to your wall.
No one's ever bought one, but they
not to play.
No,
but like I've been at plenty of like kind of parties, realtor parties, insurance broker
Bring it
parties. Out. Well, no, normally
let's go to the garage and kind of smoke a joint. Now let me show you.
Don't play it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how.
Yeah, you've seen enough of that one.
It's more just kind of like, another thing people, it's kind of like in the same place that people put indigenous art as well. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, we got this nice kind of Bill Reed and my $8,000 road worn Blackie.
Yeah. We've got a Bill Reed. Alex found it in a thrift store.
I mean,
for like $2.
I've got a $7,000 road worn, never played Strat.
Incredible.
We could have a really nice house in West Van if we kind of pooled together our resources.
Yeah, so I know exactly what you mean, and I'm going to go as far as to say that Long and McQuaid kind of separates all their worlds, actually.
Yeah.
Drums, those guys have never spoken to the bass section guy. That's what I'm
I mean,
say.
And you've not even been upstairs.
Oh, I've been upstairs, dude.
It's
many
wild
times
up there.
Band. Oh, are you kidding? That's where I go and have to rent a keyboard.
Well, I mean, it's weird how they don't allow the keyboard people to share the rock band.
They don't even. I'm like, when I say things like, "Can you?"
They're pissed you're up there.
Yeah, or like, "Can you?" I need a couple cables or something. No, you're
downstairs.
You're gonna have to talk to rentals about that. Like
100%.
They don't. They're more into woodwinds.
I think they're making a lot of money off tuition of children there to play like clarinet and rent to own clarinets for like 5,
violins,
6 years through high school. But they don't respect the the journeyman musician
No, they
upstairs.
don't. No,
Downstairs
good
they
point.
do.
Dude, that's so true. Because downstairs they're like, yeah, what do you need? Like, let me help you out
Right away.
I'll string it up.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
Tune it up, string it up.
But you
Hey,
go
you know what?
upstairs
This
and they're
one's on
I'm
me.
like, take one look at me. I'm like, I need to rent like a keyboard for a
off,
gig. And they're
exactly.
like, great.
Yeah.
Take a few $100 off this thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because this guy's going to
And they
spill beer
wear,
on
they
it.
don't have the same, they even have a different uniform, actually,
Yeah, they
thinking
do.
about it. They kind of have more of a, like, instead of the, well, maybe there's an option.
Yeah.
Because, like, downstairs, they're more like black on black waistcoats.
Yeah.
Kind
Yeah.
of like goth, metal.
Angus Young.
Yeah, kind
Kinda-
of metal goth corporate.
Yeah.
Which is a look, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Whereas upstairs, a bit more navy blue, kind of navy blue waistcoat with like a light blue shirt.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
I
a
think
different
they've got
look.
a whole different like computer system and everything. Seriously,
Yeah,
like
I
it's
think
weird.
they don't
when I go
know
up
who-
there,
yeah.
I'm like, I've rented there many times, and they're
Yeah.
like, oh, we're gonna need
Never heard
all
we're
your
gonna need it all.
information.
We're gonna need your passport.
Yeah, we're gonna need everything
Yeah.
again.
And we're gonna need your like grade 5 Royal Conservatory.
Yeah, we're gonna
Status.
need to see that you've been trained at least
Yeah.
like at the beginner's level.
Yeah, because otherwise we can't trust
Can't let
you
you
with
lay
this.
your hands on.
Do you know
this
what? This is
instrument.
funny. I know we're joking, but it's actually true. All my experiences
I'm not.
upstairs
I'm not.
in Long and McQuaid have been a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
And it's particularly this one guy. You go, because they want you to buy
Really
like a
soft-spoken guy.
$25,000 like Roland MIDI
Yeah.
weighted like ivory fucking keyboard.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, I just need like that like basic keyboard and an amp. Pissed
Yeah.
that they have to pick it up, carry it,
Yeah.
probably protecting their fingers. They think they're better, don't they?
Yeah.
They think they're better than us up there.
Yeah, they
That's
do.
the issue.
And I always rent it for like a show.
Yeah.
Like a Korg SV2.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
100%.
And then I'm like, they're like, yeah, here you go. And I'm like, oh, like I need like a bench, like a seat.
Oh.
And they're like,
Here he is.
Here
This
we
guy.
go, here we go.
I can't believe. You know what? We should speak to Korg. The SV2, is that the kind of one with the tube in it?
yeah,
The little
looks vintage.
Yeah, it
looks like a
vintage,
Rhodes,
and it
kind
has
of.
a little
Yeah.
tube in
Yeah,
it for
yeah,
no
yeah,
reason.
yeah.
That thing, that feels like a downstairs item.
It does.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because they have synths downstairs.
Yeah, they have.
They have
synths.
kind of like
well,
know.
synths.
Yeah,
James,
I
that's
know.
not music.
but
Okay.
that feels like the even like the Rhodes Whirly World kind of feels like a
jazz though. The jazz crossover with the Rhodes and the Whirly.
Do you think jazz guys just go straight upstairs?
That's jazz and classical upstairs.
Yeah. But what do you think, like, so do you think, like, for example, like a jazz guitarist goes up and is like, send one of you guys down and get me some strings.
Or like, can you go grab me like a?
Yeah.
They should have like Gretsch and stuff like up there.
It just should, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Drums, too.
Listen, where do you draw the fucking line?
Yeah, drums,
frankly?
too. Yeah, they should.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
SPD's downstairs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. China splashes upstairs.
No, downstairs.
Kind of reggae
Splash?
dub splash.
Splash downstairs. I would say.
What's
upstairs would be like
small kits.
like a Gretsch, like a jazz.
Yeah, a
kit.
little jazz.
So when I was at the drum store the other day too, they were telling me that Gretsch,
Yeah.
the price has been driven up just by the jazz community. The guy was like, it's crazy. He was like, literally a Ludwig kit. Like, we'll get a Gretsch kit in here.
Yeah.
Ludwig kit, same era, same
Yeah.
year. Like as good, if not better, kit.
Yeah.
We'll sell the Gretsch will go for 15 grand. Ludwig's like 2,500.
Unbelievable.
Because the jazz community has chosen Gretsch as
Yeah.
their drum
Yeah.
brand. And it's still kind of like, yeah, like you say, gold standard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, and it's like, if you show up to a
If you show up to
show
a
up to a
gig
jazz gig with a 1970
at the
Ludwig.
Cellar on Broadway,
No. Oh, you're
Yeah.
not playing Gretsch?
Okay,
Oh.
interesting. Well,
Yeah.
might want to consider this next time you try and get a gig in this city.
It's like guitars.
Yeah.
Like you need like a hollow body.
Yeah.
Like the big.
Country gentleman.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You're not going to play a Strat or something.
You're not showing up with a Strat.
No. Les Paul? You
To,
don't
like,
even get in the door.
Frankie's Jazz
No, you don't
Bar.
walk. 335 you could play. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's got to be hollow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got to have that kind of inside.
Yeah, because you got to roll off all the tone
100%.
so you can get that nice jazzy,
Yeah, that makes sense.
which you can get with any guitar, but it's got looks better when you have the big.
Maybe that's
body.
why they're wearing blue upstairs too. It's kind of a jazzier color.
Agree. Blues.
Yeah, but that's
but it's different.
downstairs.
No, different blues.
Okay.
Like their blues upstairs is like Mose Allison.
Okay.
You know, that kind of
Nina
stuff.
Simone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And downstairs is, you know,
Robert
Clapton.
Johnson.
Yeah. No.
Oh, see.
Hard
this
to
is,
say.
Yeah.
Hard to say with him.
Well-
Downstairs is Stevie Ray Vaughan.
100%. It's full
Like,
Stevie Ray
that's
Vaughan.
blues.
Or like they may consider like Malmsteen blues.
Yeah. No.
Some of his sadder songs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like upstairs, you know, blues is you know, yeah, that kind of like cocktail jazz blues artists.
The last place we went before COVID.
yeah,
That's worth that's worth talking about.
Hear it from me, and you
I don't
never
think we've ever
will.
discussed that on the podcast actually. That because we hadn't started the podcast yet.
No.
But we went literally like the day before the original lockdown.
Yeah,
On a like kind of pub crawl down to the Blue Martini.
but he wasn't playing blues.
No, but we ended up singing harmonies with the guy.
from the bar.
Yeah, and he loved it.
He, I think, would have been really happy if we'd gotten on stage.
What was he doing?
was
In
living
the air
out-
tonight or something?
Yeah, I was. I can feel it. Yeah.
And he kind of looked. It was packed.
Well,
in
it
there.
sounded great.
And he looked over and kind of,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
pretty fun. Was he just doing it like unplugged?
Acoustic. Yeah.
So like bottom
I think
floor
he had
on
some
equipment.
tracks or something. Maybe it was pretty.
We had
eye wall.
We did have a 3-part harmony going to
Yeah.
In the Air Tonight.
Yeah, and it sounded good. We knew
We
it
knew it
sounded
sounded good.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't own these notes.
I think, and then weirdly, like he zeroed in on us, and I
Yeah.
think we like left.
We had to
immediately
leave,
because
yeah.
it was yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that
then
night
like
started,
the pandemic
actually.
broke out the next day.
Yeah, well, it could have been something to do with that chicken sandwich you ate that night.
Oh man,
That
that
didn't
was the
work
last
out
time
too
I was
well.
at Bimini's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The chicken sandwich you had really ruined your day.
that'll do it.
But it didn't affect your performance.
No,
And that's the main thing.
no.
Because you're a professional.
Yeah.
But it does disturb me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, we got through it.
You know, it's just a the college town here. You know, they don't know. No.
There's a little man in this one.
Yeah.
Look
Look
in-
who's in here. No one. So, yeah. One thing I wanted to talk about, speaking of places like the Blue Martini, and this
Nice.
is something you've wanted to bring up a lot.
Yeah.
And I keep noticing it since you brought it up, is restaurants and bars
Oh,
that
hell
have
yeah.
vinyl
Listen.
kind of decorating
I've been
the restaurant.
I've been waiting. Like I this has been a note on my phone for like 2 months.
Uh-huh.
Listen, and also for the listeners, like we're just kind of off piece here. We were planning on kind of getting back. You've spoken, okay? We're planning on getting straight back into ranking. I've read the messages,
we're ranking.
but like one of my favorite things is once we're about 30 minutes in, is seeing if we can just kind of not get into ranking. So let's talk
Well,
about.
but now that you've said that,
no, I just
we
like
have to
put-
rank.
We listen.
I was trying to see if we could, but now
I
you
know,
said
now
it, we have to
yeah,
rank.
no, I
You
mean-
jinxed it.
I
That's
kinda
what happens
jinxed
on
it.
the pod. If you say
Yeah.
it, you jinx it.
Can we talk about vinyl though?
Yeah, we can do
You
that.
know.
Yeah.
I also wanted
Well,
to.
I
go
can
on.
tell you. I can tell
So
you.
true.
This is sort of more like, I guess,
Yeah,
insider's tale,
100%.
which is that when I worked at Zulu Records,
And if we are anything, we're insiders.
yeah, when I worked at Zulu, we got a lot of these people in to buy records.
What are we talking? Kind of set deck people?
Restaurateurs.
Okay.
And it was always funny because, they'd say, they come in, they don't look at anything.
Yeah.
And they come up and they say, I've got this restaurant.
100%.
And I'd like some records to kind of decorate the walls with, And then, and they'd say, James,
Yeah.
it's great that they'd say, what ones like great ones, like Beatles and
Yeah.
and like classics,
Classic stuff.
Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
It's a cool bar, so we want like
The best
cool
stuff.
one.
And
I'd be like,
presumably
great.
no one fucking wants this shit.
Yeah, and then they're like, whatever, Bob Dylan, like the really cool stuff. And I'm like, cool. So I take them to all these sections. All the records are like $20,
Yeah.
but they bump like Blonde on Blonde,
Yeah. We're going to say they're probably about 45
Well,
now.
yeah, like
20 years ago now.
I'm going back here.
Yeah.
And it's funny that it was always the same
Yeah.
because they don't give a shit about music.
No,
so they
well-
look at it and then they say, they see the price and then be like, Yeah, what if you got up in the dollar section
Yeah.
there, and then they'd walk
Glass
out.
houses.
You're the cat.
Yeah.
Glass.
Well, You're
houses.
the Cat's a good. That's
Great
a good,
dollar.
Great,
I mean, that's
one of the
my-
best
My
ones.
favorite dollar record. Yeah. City to City, Jerry Rafferty.
Okay, favorite. We're talking like favorite
Dollar
like
records? Don't
legit,
get me
not
started.
like ones we've found.
Don't
in
get
the-
me started. Don't even get me started. This is my favorite thing.
What favorite dollar bin records?
Yeah, this is like. I mean, I'll go all night on that.
Well, like
Rank them.
okay, City to City, 100% is
Yeah.
a dollar bin record.
Yeah.
In fact, it would. I've not been in a record store for a long time, but it would shock me to
I
see
actually
it from
only have a
alternate.
few. I don't know.
Okay, we got City to City, classic.
Uh-huh.
Before we get onto your niche picks, because we're talking about
It's all pretty niche if
But
you're
the-
talking dollar records.
but the peop-
well, unless
no,
you want like glass houses and shit.
no, but like that's what's on the wall in places.
Yeah.
you know, it's like we don't even need the vinyl. Do
Or
you
it'll
want to
be
keep
like
the vinyl?
Loverboy,
CanCon,
stuff like that.
Powder
'Cause
Blues.
You can find a million of them.
Yeah, but maybe kind of. You see a lot of like 80s Bowie,
Not in the dollar bin.
but you see it on the walls. I often see like that's like a classic.
There's
kind
that
of-
one with the flowers on the cover. What's
Yeah.
that one called?
I don't know, but Glass Houses for sure
Maybe
is
it's
one.
called Flowers.
Like
no.
bad, like maybe like I'm trying to think of like the ones you see on the walls a lot. It's
Yeah, like
normally famous
Fleetwood
art.
Mac, The Dance, or something.
Yeah, or like Mirage,
Yeah,
maybe, or
maybe.
something.
Yeah, something
but
like that.
it's records by bands that it's records by really successful bands that weren't good.
yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe
it's
like
hilarious.
maybe like In Through the Outdoor or something.
I mean, it depends on the establishment. That's
Yeah.
still going to run you 30
Yeah,
at
but
the right place.
okay.
No, not 30.
Definitely
In through the outdoor for sure.
Coda.
Coda. I'm blanking a bit now on
Yeah,
like
well.
what you find in the dollar bin. I mean, it's mostly kind of bad sort of soundtrack stuff from the 70s and like compilations.
Sure.
It's like a lot of like
Okay.
love hits of the 70s and
Yeah,
stuff
like the
that.
soundtrack to like Miami Vice. I feel like that's one that people would be like pumped to find.
Yeah.
It feels
They'd
like
be
when
pumped
you see.
to find that.
We should go to a few of these places, check them out.
Yeah,
Rank 'em.
Neptune has a lot of good like
dollar bin stuff.
dig if you want to dig.
Oh, I can think of things like Marianne Faithful, but like 80s.
Yeah, 80s Broken English.
Yeah,
that's a dollar record.
for
and
sure.
It's a great record.
Yeah, okay. So that's
great
one you
record.
see a
That's a
lot.
good one.
Yeah.
yeah,
Things like the Thompson twins, maybe.
yeah. Maybe 80s. Yeah, there's a
It's
lot.
more 80s, I think,
70s
generally.
too. It'll be like
Billy Joel, anything Billy Joel.
Loggins
He's-
and Messina.
Yeah, massively.
Stuff like that.
Toto.
Yeah, like exactly.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, stuff like that. That they sold millions.
Yeah,
of, and
exactly.
it's that kind of thing. Elton John, Caribou.
Maybe like some 80s Rod Stewart where he's just
Oh,
wearing
for
like
sure.
underwear.
Oh, endless.
She's the Boss.
Yeah.
What about that?
Mick Jagger?
Yeah.
Totally.
Dollar bin.
Yep.
That's kind of
Yeah.
on those walls.
Yeah. I'm blank. There's so many that I'm not just like encyclopedia thinking of them, but
Yeah,
like if
but
you say
listen.
them, I'll be like yes or no.
Yeah, I'm just
because
trying.
I used
kind
to
of wanna-
price them.
Listen, these people, they're very patient.
You were talking earlier about that and about how some people. We've gotten some Patreon messages.
Yeah. Well, I just want everyone to know that.
Yeah. Speak your mind. Get you another beer.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, I just want everyone to know that I really appreciate. We really appreciate your messages, both Instagram direct messages or Patreon messages. And I've said in the past that I don't read them very often, and it's true. And given that we've been ranking, full time, I would say,
Yeah.
for the last kind of month, and we took that break with Mike, aka Stranglehold, YouTube username Stranglehold, to talk about the band, but that was because we kind of needed to. I was getting a bit exhausted because we've bit off more than we can chew. So I just wanted to say to the people whose messages I haven't responded to, or the people who've sent them and have like switched platforms, whatever, I will get to it. I really appreciate it, and it isn't for any reason other than the fact that I've been a bit, and I don't know about you, Johnny, overwhelmed with the duty of ranking, because at first I thought it would be funny to do like, not funny, but like, kind of light competition.
Yeah.
But the messages we get back of people who have like and it's, relevant, like, I don't want to make someone feel bad. I know that ultimately where this ends is we're going to have to come up with a system where we can rank any musician against any other musician, regardless of the instrument they play.
Well,
so it's just a lot to take on, and I keep sending messages. Don't be disheartened. Don't think that I'm not paying attention. It's just that, like, ranking, no one's ever done this before. It's always been like with Rolling Stone and stuff, when people have done this stuff, it's always been a little bit.
Well, it's payola, isn't it?
It's 100% payola.
And well, first of all, thank you for your statement, James.
Yeah, no problem.
And I just like to thank you for handling all of that. And also, I'd like to say that in regards to sort of ranking, kind of taking over our lives, the way I see it is that for a while there, I was doing two things.
Yeah. You felt you were two people.
Well, we had a podcast.
Yeah.
And we were doing our podcast, and I was trying to live a regular life as a human being, as a musician, as a man.
Well, it started as fun.
In a relationship. And then we got into ranking.
Yeah.
And now, strangely, I find I don't even have time for anything else besides the ranking that you and I do.
No.
So, like, even I'm not even talking about the internet. Within my normal life,
I got to say, I'm stood here looking at you right now.
Yeah.
Eye to eye, man to man. Mm-hmm. I'm in a safe space too, and I'm looking and I'm ranking right now.
I know, me too.
Stella versus Coors.
Well, did you
got these speakers on this Sony boombox you bought? But I'm looking at your kind of Akai system. I'm thinking which one's better.
Polk Audio,
yeah. Well, Polk Audio, like in what system?
Yeah.
In what categories does one beat the other?
Oh, the Akai amp. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and maybe in a kind of like check my low end situation, I'm going for those, just those headphones you have over there.
Sure.
If I'm going for pure party, like let's have a good time, probably hitting up the Polk Audios.
Yeah, well,
categories are endless.
And when you start talking about dollar records, like my brain just sort of like almost like on like if you're playing like poker on an app.
Yeah.
Like when all the cards are on the table, but you're just like looking on a screen, then all of a sudden there's like the cards all go back together.
And they know
my
order.
brain like had all the records out, and then it started ranking them, like shuffling them
like solitaire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like on the computer.
Red Rose Speedway.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, tons of wings.
Yeah, wings.
London Town.
London Town.
Yeah,
yeah.
There's one where they're like looking on a spaceship.
Yeah, I know.
All. I mean,
Venus
even Wings over America.
Even.
I mean, okay, that's okay. Wings at the Speed of Sound.
That's good.
Was
not
a dollar record.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. But you know that I'm responsible a little bit. This is
personally.
Apparently, people have told me this. I don't know.
You started this rumor.
That I started this own. That I championed these records so hard in the early 2000s. City to City, Year of the Cat,
Back to the Egg. It's called or something.
Yes, Back to the Egg. Oh, Lucky Man, the soundtrack, Alan Price of the Animals, which is a great one.
Yeah, okay, so let's just stop there. Because that's your big dollar one.
That's my...
So let the guys know. Give them a freebie here.
You can find it still in the dollar bin.
Yeah.
It's a movie that came out with Malcolm McDowell, from Clockwork Orange.
Certainly know him.
It's the keyboard player from the Animals, Alan Price.
Yeah.
Would
he be...
Incredible.
Potentially responsible for his part in the lineage of House of the Rising Sun.
Well, he played the organ.
Well, I'm saying but we know that this is now gone. It's in court because of the heavy metal bad boys.
So here's the thing about him is that
Alan
everybody
Price.
thought that Eric Burden was like the guy.
Yeah,
but he's the guy in the Animals.
Burden kind of. It's because of
he's
Monterey,
a buffoon,
right?
a bit. Yeah, he's a good singer, whatever.
But he's kind of dressed in his moo.
Yeah, so this record is so good that it's Alan Price had left the Animals and was listening to like Nilsson and Randy Newman and all this music, and he did this soundtrack with all these incredible songs.
Yeah,
and it's totally front to back.
And it's called
Oh Lucky Man.
Alan Price
red cover. Yeah, phenomenal.
I've got some more really good dollar ones for you.
Might not even be on Spotify, honestly.
In the same lineage as Al Stewart, Alan Parsons.
Yeah, of course.
Pyramid,
all those.
iRobot.
Yeah.
Great records.
Yeah.
Like really good.
Well, Time Passages too, Al Stewart.
Time Passages is an astonishing album.
yeah.
And we've talked about the concept of a time passage before.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a
Well, you had a great.
psychogeographical.
I've obviously misread it.
Well, I just kind of feel like it's kind of relates to Sebald, Modiano, a lot of post-structuralism as
That
well.
makes so much sense.
Yeah, that it's kind of more about like, you know, like the feeling of walking through a city that you understand and you're suddenly transported back to another time that you were in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful,
A
and it's
time
very
passage.
Al.
Yeah.
It's a very Al idea. Very romantic.
What about earlier Al?
You can sometimes find this compilation called The Early Years,
Okay.
which if you can find it, get it, because it has all the stuff from Love Chronicles and Zero She Flies, which are both incredible records, and those ones will run you $30, $40.
Interesting.
Alex, what are the other dollar records we love?
Okay, we're getting
That
Alex
you
in
love?
here.
That we, because Alex only listens weirdly to like the dollar records more.
Exclusively.
Bread.
Well, and we all know Alex is a
Bread
huge
Greatest
Bread fan.
Hits is one you can find, but not now again because Yacht and all that got big.
Matt
right?
DeMarco.
Asia used to be a dollar.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's got to be some
But not
Steely
now.
down there. What about Royal Scam?
Yeah.
Katie lied.
Katie, yeah, but
Maybe.
not now.
No.
But it was.
Yeah.
You know what used to be a dollar record?
Yeah.
Rumors,
Oh, 100%.
but not anymore.
It should be. There's so many of them.
But stores know people want them now because kids are into Fleetwood Mac.
Aesthetically.
It's cool. It's
That's
like
cool.
Euphoria. It's that kind of thing. It's like,
Have you watched Euphoria?
yeah, but the soundtrack's like Jerry Rafferty. The episode I watched last night had right down
I
the
can't
line.
watch that show. Gave me like a panic
No,
attack.
it's dark.
It made me feel really bad.
It makes me worried for children.
Yeah, I'm more into kind of like right now, of course, like I'm kind of like around this time of night, I'm going straight to like Al Jazeera Live, the UN Security Council, watch what the hell is going on in the real world.
That's intense.
Yeah,
too.
but
I
that's
was gonna
kind of
say,
like
I
an
gotta watch, like,
intensity
Looney
I can
Tunes.
deal with. You
Sure,
know what I mean? I want to know what's going on in Donetsk. You know.
Yeah. Hey, I had
Also,
two.
shout out to all the. What a terribly
know.
sad situation, by the way.
absolutely.
Not a politics podcast, but just you know what I've vowed to do. To kind of understand what's going on there a little bit more. I have a friend in Kiev right now. In fact, not in Kiev. Unbelievably, and by complete accident, went to Paris the day before this kicked off. So he's stuck in Paris now. Because he just happened to get one of the last flights out.
Wow.
Didn't mean to. So, it's very, very sad.
I know.
And by the time this comes out, who even knows?
I'd like to learn more about it too.
Yeah. Pretty bluesy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Just to so you know how I brought up the records on the wall?
yeah.
So I only had 2 notes. This is how demented kind of our lives are now doing this
100%.
podcast.
Yeah.
That I only had 2 notes in my phone about a podcast, and they said this: records in restaurants
Yeah.
and psycho masks.
Okay.
And I know what psycho masks
Yeah.
is that I was walking around
I have
the
a
other
feeling
day,
I know what
and you
psychomask
see
is.
people wearing COVID masks,
Yeah.
but they're like
Identity
the
ba- oh,
they're
okay.
like the psycho,
like the Punisher or something.
like yeah, exactly, like that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And it's like they've been waiting their whole life to be able to wear like a mask.
They're probably kind of like more of the kind of Slipknot, Bioshock, Discharge kind
Call
of
of Duty.
demented. Oh yeah, well it's definitely linked. That's the lineage.
Yeah.
Just kind of like
gamer feel.
gamer Nas. Like it's weird how
But it's pretty frightening, you know?
well, it's weird how energy drinks as well have like
That's
chosen. Well, like yeah, because I'm into the yerba mate, club mate stuff.
Sure.
I'll anything, but especially if I'm not drinking, I'm just fucking energy drinks. Anything
I'm
to
getting
feel
into
different.
kombucha.
Well, that's I think there's-
Everybody does it. I never did it.
I think there's something going on with kombucha that people don't understand because there's too many zeros on the back of that. I understand with bubbly and like La Croix and stuff why there's loads of like there's nothing in it.
Yeah.
We've been through this.
Sure.
Derek Smalls.
Yeah.
But kombucha must have more shit in it than it does. It says it has no sugar in it, and it tastes like there's sugar in it.
Yeah.
So
well, that's
I
like Diet Coke or
I think-
something, probably.
I don't think Yeah, you know what? If I'm
Aspartame.
hungover, love a little Diet Coke occasionally.
Never had one.
Yeah, there's something about the taste of it that's really weird and like
It's
chemically
weird,
and
for
shit.
sure.
Yeah.
You know, is nothing like the real thing, buddy. If you're hungover, can of Coke.
Oh, 100. Well, actually, I go for, half a can of Coke, really.
I'll do a whole can. It's so rare.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Well, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. And,
But I want to talk about this Psycho Mask thing.
well, I just think that
Maybe they think they're in Slipknot.
I think that they're happy that they get to walk around and frighten people on the street.
Maybe.
And I'm not trying to alienate. If there's any Psycho Mask wearers who are listeners,
100%.
I'd love to hear,
I can vouch for
your
every single
reasoning
person.
behind it.
I can vouch for every single person who listens to this podcast.
Yeah.
There's no
Psycho Mask.
There might be a couple of guys who have kind of Fender ones or sponsored.
That's cool, though.
Blues, kind of like ones with a guitar on them. Probably a couple of people who have like comedy style
Yeah.
ones, like kind of just like that say things like "wear your mask."
I think
There's a couple of like ironic guitar or drum ones, but mostly it's not. There's none. We don't have any of those guys.
I think
or girls.
it
Could be a
would
lady.
tie into gaming a lot, is what I think.
Oh, we have a lot of gamers though that listen to this podcast for sure.
Yeah, but I'm not saying, but exactly, but they're also into music.
yeah, extremely online people are listening to this, but I don't think they need to wear like a Punisher style
Yeah.
kind of mask. I think it's a
You know,
lot.
it's like green. It looked like Venom.
Yeah. Well, here's the reason I think that is because my theory on masks
Yeah.
is hot people.
We all wear masks.
So true, dude, honestly. But like hot people in general, which is everyone who listens to this podcast, don't mind fucking wearing a mask. It gives us a fucking moment off, honestly.
Wow. Love how you said us.
Yeah, us all.
Yeah.
Hot people, you never see an attractive person who's complaining about wearing a mask. It's only ugly looking people, ugly fuckers.
But you would think that unattractive people would want to wear a mask.
Yeah, but it's everything's an illusion. It's like recording. You want that snare drum to sound big, play it tiny.
Could you imagine
know what
if
I
I
mean?
was super into Call of Duty?
No, I can't.
I made a joke the other day, and I thought it was so funny. Maybe I already said this on the podcast. That Alex's sister was here, and she texted me because she was staying here.
Currently the only person in the history of this podcast who got a free patron
Yeah,
code.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I owe someone
Probably
one, actually.
listening right
I just
now.
remembered.
Hi, Emma. So she texted me. She's like, "Hey, can I get on your internet, like to work?"
100%.
You know what I mean? And I said, I like made this joke on my phone texting her. I thought it was really good. I said, sorry, like I'm right in the middle of a campaign. Right
Yeah,
now.
100%.
Like on Call of Duty.
Skirmish.
Yeah. I was just like, could you imagine if that was like a thing? That it was like
Could
a
be.
Saturday and I'm like, me and the guys are just about to invade Afghanistan.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I'd be down. I mean, we watch those kind of
That's
movies.
the thing. Is like we're kind of adjacent. Like we could.
I'm pretty adjacent to that.
You've talked about this? That like
During COVID, I was really close.
close to just go down to Best Buy, just pick up a
100%.
PS5. I mean,
We can't get a PS5, even if you
I
wanted
was
one.
talking
pal.
to Matt, and he was like, he's got like the hockey,
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
he's
I
like, I've
won't, can't allow myself.
and I'm like, he's
get
like,
the-
I'm like,
get
he's like,
FIFA?
oh yeah, I've got it, and I'm
No.
like, really?
No, if I got FIFA,
Like
I'd
we're
be
just there
fucked.
recording music, and I'm like, kind of tempted to just be like,
I
should we
wouldn't-
do this
I
bass
don't-
line or
I
like just
wouldn't-
go in and like
it would
start
be
a
like learning to
franchise?
suck your own dick.
Yeah,
You wouldn't do anything else.
yeah.
I wouldn't be here if I could play PS5 like FIFA. You know what I mean?
know.
I'd just be doing that the whole time.
The sport, I know. I talk about the Call of Duty. I don't. I get the appeal,
I don't really have,
but
and I don't never like first person shoot 'em ups, except for like,
GoldenEye.
Well, yeah, like, but that was kind of a time,
That was it was also a phenomenal game.
Listen, I could you want to
I've
rank
tried the other
N64 games
Sure.
right now? Top 10.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, GoldenEye would be in there.
Yeah,
Did you have an N64?
of course.
Mario World, also, Mario
I would
64.
say Mario Kart 64.
I think Mario
above that.
64 is better.
Really?
Yeah. Donkey Kong Diddy Kong Racing?
See, I just preferred Mario Kart 64.
I think I would crush you in Mario Kart
Oh,
64.
buddy, no chance.
Dude, listen.
There's no chance.
100%.
Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Decent, yeah.
Big for me.
Fucking no doubt in my mind. Big for you, eh?
You know, I'm going to go right here. Big one for me. Big.
Yeah.
NFL Blitz.
NFL Blitz. I'll send you home to your mother in a box. Oh, I know it, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I could play Blitz still. But 100%, and I will, let's get on Twitch and do it. You talking about getting into games, I want to play you any,
Sure.
listen.
Maybe
any-
64
any
Kart,
Mario Kart 64,
Super Nintendo,
you're-
original Mario Kart. There's no chance you'd beat me.
Yeah, I think I
No
would.
chance.
Definitely Mario Kart 64.
We'll try. We'll try.
You
it.
know.
I've got it.
You know when I come over here to your house? Coming over here. And
I don't have it here, but I get it.
Let's get it here.
My folks' place, I'll get it.
You know, sometimes I'm coming over here, and you know, there's actually it's more pertinent when I'm riding my bike to the space.
Uh-huh.
There's a little shortcut on the seawall I like to call Wario Stadium.
Nice.
Every time I do it, I'm
Yeah.
like, it's kind of like you hop over a thing, you end up saving yourself a lot of time.
Yeah.
The old Wario Stadium kind
Oh,
of
for
vibe.
sure.
Yeah, 100%.
There's that beach one, dude, Koopa Beach too, where you can jump through the cave.
I've never not jumped through it.
It's hard to hit that,
Yeah.
dude. You hit it every time?
You know, sometimes, well, with a mushroom, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
You know, listen, sometimes when you're in our position, you know, when you're kind of like top music commentary podcast,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I can't help but think of that blue shell coming for us. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, and such is life, actually.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. It's coming. You just got to stay on top as long as you can.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I view things. That's kind of an Al Stewart vibe.
Yeah, but he's done a good job of kind of not being the top. I respect that.
It's a move.
I respect the guy. You
Shadow
know that
man.
you call them nearly men.
Yeah.
But I don't particularly care for that term because I think that they don't think like because they're not. They're there.
3 CDs and 2 DVDs.
They're there as far as they're concerned, and
Yeah.
I'm concerned.
Yeah.
They're not nearly anything. They're there, but they don't need to be at the level of a Bob Dylan or a Neil Young or whatever.
Well, let's be quite frank. They never were.
Well, they never were, but I'm saying that, like, as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't affect their ranking. You know what I mean? It's like the work speaks for itself.
How do you think? Okay, well, listen.
Fame to me
Yeah.
isn't a category when
Yeah.
I'm ranking.
But if we're
musicians.
ranking,
yeah,
this is the thing. We need to come up with a system.
Yeah.
This is why it's so complicated.
yeah.
Where Al Stewart can be ranked against Neil Young fairly.
Well, he could be. That's what I'm saying. In
Yes.
my mind,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah.
I could rank John Lennon.
But I think you'll find that Neil Young still beats Al Stewart. And if he doesn't, the ranking's really
depends
not
on the
fair.
character. Yeah,
Categories.
depends
But
on the categories.
overall,
Yeah, overall, he
I
should.
think we will
He
see
should.
Neil Young win.
He should.
It's
Yeah.
going to be a tight race, but Dylan will probably beat Neil Young.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like John Lennon will beat Harry Nilsson. You
But
know.
wouldn't you
But-
love to see Lennon and McCartney go off, though?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And that if the categories are correct,
Yeah.
then this should work. But what I'm saying is that, you know, I always like the people who they get the job done.
Yeah.
But they're not, you know, Lee Hazelwood,
Paul Rogers.
Al Stewart. No, he's a superstar. I'm talking people. They walk down the street, you don't know who they are, but they make all the best records.
Well, that's
you know?
the gold, you know, to be one of those guys. I think Paul Rogers could walk down the street and not get recognized. Lee Hazelwood in his like nudie suit in Sweden might struggle.
Yeah, he kind of had a look. It's true.
He had a look and a voice.
Yeah,
You know.
Yeah.
Lee and Nancy, never a dollar bin record,
No, too hip. Always hip.
but it was always hip.
Always hip.
I might even go as far as say I don't own it
I have it.
on vinyl.
It's good. I prefer his other records.
I really like that record.
It's great. Phenomenal. He's a great producer. Did a lot of wacky stuff.
Some Velvet Morning, come on, that's the best song.
Wacky stuff.
Wacky for sure.
They
yeah.
didn't. He had to find. He just did his own thing. All the studios told him, "You can't.
Too wacky.
You can't mess around with the faders and do all that." He
Yeah.
just did whatever he thought was cool. It was great. I read an interview with Nancy Sinatra, and she said Lee would, because he'd write songs all the time, and she said we'd be sitting around singing and writing, and she said then he'd get the whiskey out.
Nice.
And she said, and then he'd start drinking whiskey, and that's when the really weird stuff would come out.
Great reverbs.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you're heavy-handed with it like that, and you have those great reverbs,
Those chambers.
yeah,
I think maybe
Wrecking Crew.
Capital Chambers.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
I've got the plugin.
I've got the
Shout
plugin.
out to Magic Verb,
Yeah.
which is my guy Ian Sefcik,
Uh-huh.
Magic Death Eye.
Yeah.
The Magic Verb is the Capital Chambers. He recorded it.
Yeah. I'd like to shoot that out against the UAD Capital Chambers plugin.
Let me just say, all my people have told me, if you have Magic Verb, you don't need any other reverb plugin. Not one.
Your people. This is what your
Dan
people are
Horn.
saying. Yeah.
That's,
I trust him.
it's good.
Yeah.
Takes up a whole lot of.
Yeah. A lot of people say that about Seventh Heaven, too.
It's a reverb.
Yeah. Seventh Heaven. It's kind of a Bricasti VST. I don't have it. A lot of people talk about it. I got my EMT 140. I got my 250. I've got Lexicon because I
You got
kind of dip
lots.
into the 80s, right?
Yeah, you
All
got
the Valhalla
You
stuff.
should get
obviously.
the Magic Verb.
Get it
You'd
right
like
now. Let's
it.
get it up.
You'd like
I
it.
want to see. I'm going to Google it right now. Let's see who else
$50.
is using it. I'm not. I'll give him 100 just to make it feel better. Magic Verb.
Well, the stereo compressor is amazing, based off a limiter of Fairchild.
Magic Verb. DDMF.
Yeah,
European Union.
but that's just the company that sells it.
It's cute looking.
He made it. He recorded those Capitol Chambers because he was the mastering guy at Capitol,
He was the mastering guy at Capitol.
and so he recorded those Capitol Chambers.
Very cool.
I'm not trying to dox him or whatever, but supposedly
You might
when-
be doxing him right now.
Yeah, might not.
No, it says it actually says on their site.
Right.
It's
Right.
fine.
Yeah. No, apparently he before they folded the mastering department that he was working for, he went
Yeah.
in and recorded them.
Love it.
Yeah.
Liquid Sonic Seventh Heaven. Bit more expensive.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very excited to try this out. You know
Mhm.
me.
It sounds really good, man.
We got a few minutes left here. Why don't we sort out? Why don't we kind of figure? Because we're going to
Let's let everybody know what the categories are,
Yeah.
and then we'll rank them next time.
Yeah, and then maybe we'll do. I'll go through. Hang on a second here.
Can I let you know? Should I tell everybody Jessica and Luke's list?
For sure.
We'll do that next time. And then what I was thinking is we'd rank and rate everybody's list.
It all feels important. Yeah, I think so.
Well, actually, Jessica said she sent me about 100 lists.
Well, this is the problem. It gets really complicated. I just
Yeah.
want to say shout out to Billy Hamilton. Respect. Love your messages. I saw it the other day. I've not got to it yet, but let's look here because this is how complicated it gets. I'm going to
Yeah.
use his message 'cause I'm reading it right now.
Yeah.
First of all, he's thanking us for heeding to his call to remove Kiedis from the list and give Freddie another look. So 100%.
Yeah.
Would love for you to consider and weigh in on the following names. Elvis Costello. I mean, I don't need to be convinced. I mean, he's my number one guy, but I was just thinking we kind of late 70s, he's going to feature.
A lot of names of mine also left off the list.
And,
so.
here, interesting, likely fits in some power pop clown, Eric Carmen, Raspberries, somewhere between Chilton, Stipe Curtis universe. So there's a lot to say. Dolly Parton.
Chilton would go on over
For you.
Eric Carmen.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We got Dolly Parton.
Great, but Patsy Cline, far better singer in my opinion.
Nina Simone
on my list.
on your list. Bonnie Raitt and Jeff Buckley. No one's ever. I'll just say this right now.
Jeff Buckley.
No one's ever listened to Jeff Buckley.
I'm going to
Straight
say
up.
straight off the bat, no offense.
Yeah.
Hate his voice.
Okay, I'm going to say no offense.
Tim Buckley, can't stand his voice. The
Re-
Buckley's not a Buckley's
No.
guy.
You know what? Love the cough medicine though.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
They should have used some of
Yeah.
that stuff. Cleaned.
That's
cleaned
just
it
my
out.
personal opinion. But
Bonnie Raitt, I don't know enough about Bonnie Raitt. Why she's on everyone's
She's a
list.
good singer.
She's David Crosby's number one. So enough. She's
Yeah.
already doing well enough.
She's good.
As for Jeff Buckley, my take would be he would be the top singer songwriter no one's ever really listened to.
I don't like, he does Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen, and it's just a bit much for me. I'm sorry. I know people love him. I don't know.
We got to get rid of Mariah Carey. I think that already happened.
It happened.
There's a lot of modern stuff that he wants us to discuss. Oh, interesting. Let's talk Matt Berninger. Berninger?
Don't know who
I
that is.
don't. This is a world unto one.
Yeah.
I understand, but anyway, either way,
Totally agree. Nina
everything's wicked.
Nina
Everything's
Simone and
wicked,
all
and
that.
thanks
I'm
for
with
sending
you.
it.
I'm with you.
I was just gonna say, a lot of people are gonna be calling for Lanigan in the list now.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
You know the thing about stuff like it's interesting, like Jeff Buckley and all that is if
Jeff Buckley.
if you were growing up and you listened to those records,
Yeah.
you love it.
Of course.
And it's all about that. See, I didn't even hear it till I was 30 or
Same.
something. So I don't know why it's but
Same as
but,
like Eva Cassidy
like,
to me or something.
Yeah, but like, I'd consider Elliott Smith because I listened to it
100%.
when I was a kid. But it's, to somebody else, they'd be like, Elliott Smith's a shit singer
You
or
gotta,
something.
dude, throw on Elliott Smith, man. It's pretty good.
I know it's good.
It's pretty crazy.
But we loved it when we were
Yeah.
kids. That's what
Yeah.
all it is, man.
It's kind of the Peter
For 90s,
Jackson move.
For 90s.
Yeah.
Jeff Buckley. It's
Yeah,
who
we'll
you
do a
listen to.
90s one. We'll do a 90s one.
It's who I'm excited to get into 90s.
Yeah, me too.
Just
Well,
on this podcast.
We're scratching a barrel here, dude.
I've got a lot to say.
I've got a lot to say.
I have a lot to say.
Wait until we get into the 2000s.
In my opinion, my sort of take about how
my expertise is the 90s.
how 90s was the clown era.
Yeah.
It's my favorite take I've ever had
Yeah.
on this pod.
Okay, let's go through them real quick here. So we decided the 10 categories, and we'll just kind of explain them
Yeah,
quickly.
we'll explain them, yeah.
I mean, we could, honestly, like wait 2 minutes and do this as a whole other podcast.
Well, no, let's just read off the categories.
And then explain them in more detail next time.
Oh, yeah, maybe you're right.
You know
We
what I
should
mean?
wait. We
Because I
should
feel
wait.
like we need to figure it. We kind of,
Well, we can also finesse them a little more. We did it kind of quick.
okay.
So
These
we'll
are
get
just,
together in a few days. So what do you
Yeah.
want to talk about now?
well, I got like a couple of notes here. Vinyl as art was one of them. Soda Stream versus sparkling water.
Yeah, I've weirdly
We've both
switched over
switched.
to Soda Stream, but I don't like it. For the record,
Yeah.
I'll take a can of club soda. If I'm making a cocktail,
Yeah.
I want a can of club soda.
Yeah,
That's
you
what
like
I
the
want.
salt.
No, I like it's more carbonated.
Okay,
No matter
I
how
know-
much you squeeze that thing,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
I know. What
I'll
we-
squeeze it so much the thing exploded the other day. Ask
exactly.
Alex.
No, I believe you. You don't need to corroborate it.
Yeah.
I believe you. I'll tell you. I know how we can end because we do. I'm looking. We do have like the 10 kind of categories in front of me,
Mm-hmm.
and I am. But I do think we need to like kind of go through it. So I do think we should do a next episode.
Yeah.
But like one thing that we were discussing
Mm-hmm.
was the idea of making it something that can apply to any kind of musician. It doesn't have to just be a singer. And I think that's important. So,
Right.
for example, like the category of like voice, for example,
No.
it's not going to work. So we've been working day and night
Yeah.
to kind of try and figure out.
That's all I
So
do.
that's really where the hurdle is right now. Because I want to be able to rank Stevie Ray Vaughan versus Neil Young, or like Buddy Guy versus John Bonham.
Well, this is and the whole idea is that we have these categories that work for every type of musician.
Yes.
And then we're going to be doing some ranking singers, then some guitarists, some
Yes.
bass players, some drummers. But then eventually, once this system's worked out, you can pit
Yeah.
any anybody against
That's kind of
one another
Matrix level.
Yeah.
So when we get there.
to create the perfect band.
And that's the idea, is that you'll
Yeah.
then be able to have some kind of card game version of this where
Yeah.
you can kind of trade to create a band.
And if anybody out
Fantasy
there
band.
listening thinks that idea of a card
Yeah.
system is good, let us know.
And also, like, help us do it.
Yeah.
And you can have
Do it for us.
33%. Yeah, just do it for us, yeah.
Yeah.
And let us have, like,
You know,
some of the money.
20%.
Even, like, not even.
Yeah.
Like, less.
For us or them?
Like, me.
Yeah, for us, yeah.
Like,
I don't want to.
I just wanna do-
want to see it happen.
I want to do this.
Yeah.
This is all I really want to do. I
That's
just
all
want to
I-
do the ranking bit.
It's all I have time for.
I don't
is
have
that-
time for anything else. You know what would be cool is making it, like, full-time.
You were out at a show the other night on
was
Saturday,
insane.
and all we were doing was texting about ranking all night. You were
Yeah.
like at the concert backstage.
I know.
And I was like, hangability and party ability
Yeah, I
need to
know.
be one, and you're like, okay, great. Like I'm talking to you're
I asked Dan Snaith
Yeah.
from Caribou what he thought about it, and he was the guy
Yeah.
who had the wisdom
Yeah.
to say that party ability and hangability were kind of the same thing.
You're out in public being social.
Yeah.
And you're trying to kind of kill two birds with one stone, because
Yeah.
obviously you have all this work to do.
It's ridiculous.
So you're like, hey, like, how you been doing, James? You're like, great, great. Hey, do you think that
Yeah.
if you were ranking singers' hangability and party ability would be
Yeah.
the same category? And
Yeah.
some people walk away and don't know what you're talking about. And others, like Dan Snaith.
Yeah, he gets it.
Yeah, he gets it.
Yeah, and you know what? He definitely wins on the hangability bit.
Nice.
He's not really partying, so that's probably why he said they're the same thing. And you know what? In the interests of 10 categories over 25, I'm willing to combine them. All right, well,
I really want hangability and party ability to be two different.
Yeah.
So we'll see what we can do.
Okay.
Because it is kind of important to me.
well,
Watching this Pam and Tommy Lee thing, Tommy
Yeah.
Lee, party ability 10, hangability 1.
Yeah.
So it's really different.
we also need to figure out a way in which you can, like, I was saying, like, there's like those like Olympic. It's normally things like ice skating and stuff or whatever, where they like diving, where they like have 5 judges, and it's like they get rid of the lowest and the highest numbers, and then you get, so it's like, for example, you would say like Nielsen, like, natural talent,
Sure.
9, and
Yeah.
I'd say, I don't know, 7, and a couple of people would say 8 in the middle. It's like, that's what gets
Sure.
chosen.
Sure.
That's the only way it's fair.
Yeah, we'll have to get a round table ranking going.
Well, we need
I
a
know.
table, a round
Yeah.
table, first
We'll
of all.
Start with that.
Yeah, okay, I think we're good for this. Thanks for listening to Impossible Way of Life. We'll get to the ranking eventually, but you know what? The listeners have spoken, and we know you prefer this kind of episode, this kind of ranking, kind of like drip feeding ranking kind of vibe, you know, and we know it's important, so
Yeah.
thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks a lot.